You're listening to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast, episode number 76. Today, I speak with author, speaker, creator of the Consistent Profit Tree System, Benson Agbortogo, on how to build a business with God's blessing. Welcome to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast, where we gain inspiration and motivation from others who share their touching stories of renewing hope and discovering purpose in any circumstance. I'm your host, Christina Reisinger, and today we will be encouraged by another tremendously inspirational topic that will embolden you to release fear, begin taking small steps forward, and move into your God-given purpose to live and serve in this life. Join me for today's story. Hello, Benson, and welcome to Faith Breathed Hope. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic, and I'm so happy that I'm breathing a lot of free oxygen. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I know. I want to know more about you, and I know that our audience would like to know more. Today, we're going to be talking about business God's way and moving into finding a business with His Word. But I'd like for you to share something interesting about yourself. Maybe you have a whole bunch of people that know a lot about you, but maybe there's one thing that's really cool that you don't tell everybody. Can you divulge that for us?
Well, one of the things that many people don't know about me is my ability to make fun or create crack jokes. When I bring that out at times, it's kind of surprising for some people, but for some people, it's not. As a matter of fact, my pastor friends used to invite me in the past just to come and make their people laugh.
Oh, how
they
fun.
wouldn't invite me to come and preach. They would just invite me to come and crack some jokes.
That is a blessing to be able to make people smile.
Absolutely.
Not everybody has that talent. So would you mind introducing where you've been and where God is leading you to?
Yeah, I'll give you a synopsis of it. I was born and raised in Cameroon, Africa. Cameroon, which is in the west part of Africa. And I gave my life to Christ in 1990. And at that time, I really believed that if anybody came to Christ, a lot of their problems would be solved. I still believe that today. With that zeal, I went from house to house, really ministering to people for them to give their life to Christ. And that zeal of bringing people to Christ led me to becoming a missionary pastor. So I went to the neighboring country, Nigeria, and I was there for about 5 years, pastoring. And I really discovered something that was a little bit troubling for me. The churches I was pastoring, they were doing well. I thought people had to read the Bible. I thought people had to pray. I thought people had to fast. But I realized that a lot of the people, including myself at the time, were still struggling economically and financially. Mm-hmm. So one day, out of exasperation, I said, God, explain to me, how can a rich God have poor kids? How come your children are always struggling to raise money? I go to church, they'll raise money this year, we'll raise money the following year, we'll raise money. So it's always something about money. I said, why is there so much struggle within Christians about money? And he said, son, you really want to solve this problem? I said, yes. So he said, go back to school and study business. And immediately I said, get ye behind me, Satan. Because in Africa, business is synonymous to corruption.
Oh.
So I was thinking, how can a man of God be involved in business? That was my mindset. Mm-hmm. But because I knew the voice of God, I was able to really understand that, yes, God was actually talking to me. That's when I said, okay, God, I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to study business, but I want to go to the United States. At that time, I didn't even have a bank account. I didn't even know where to start, but I just had a faith that I could, come to the United States and study business. Fast forward, I just followed some instructions and I was able to move over here to the States in September of 2003, went to King's College, New York. And when I was in college, Christina, I was repenting almost every semester because I discovered how wasteful and ignorant I was as a pastor. And I began to see some parallels between my wastefulness and poverty. So when I finished business school, I obviously launched into business. And I've really been using that platform ever since 2009 when I started on my own to empower other Christians to go into business and to also understand that God is a God of business. A lot of Christians think that to serve God, you have to be in a church or you have to be in a ministry that is a 501c3 or so. But many Christians do not realize that you can be in business and that business can be your ministry as well. So that's a synopsis of my journey of where I came from and, what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm. You touched on something that I know is a big heartache for a lot of Christians is this idea of, hey, God, you told me that I was supposed to be prosperous. You said that you were going to give me an abundance if I followed you. And, we also know that as Christians, the abundance is Jesus. The abundance is him and our relationship with him. But a lot of times we think money and the struggle for being able to take care of our families, be able to develop a business. And then beyond that, you may have a great idea, but charging money for certain things. Like you had said that a lot of times people think, well, I need to be working at a church or I need to have a nonprofit because everything I do as ministry is something that people should not be paying for. We should be giving it freely. So I definitely want to talk about mindset. Now we have a couple of other things that we can touch on, but can you start off by really addressing that mindset, that hindrance in a Christian person's mind where they say, you know what, I'm hitting this speed bump and I can't get over it because I don't feel like I'm supposed to be charging for this. As a Christian, I should be giving everything away.
I definitely struggle with that mindset because obviously as a pastor, as a former pastor, I was just used to preaching and letting people give free will offerings or tithes, as we call it. So when I moved into the business world, it was a big struggle, for me to charge people money. But I realized after serving a few clients with that mindset that it wasn't helping them and it wasn't helping me. I'll give an example. I coach a young man for over 3 years. And every week when we met for our coaching session, he has not done his assignment. He will give me some kind of cockamamie excuse. And then when he ran out of excuses, he went into, I'm waiting on the Lord. I'm waiting on God to give me the green light. This went on for months. And I remember one day he came to a session and I said, where's your homework? And he said, no, I'm waiting on God to give me the green light. Immediately, I had a vision and I saw an older gentleman who was moving around the building where we were. And this gentleman, the first image, he was moving with a very little boy, probably around 6 years old. And they were moving very slowly. And then that image passed. And then the second image was the same gentleman, but this time with a boy who was around 14. But their pace was faster. And I heard that still small voice in me saying, tell my son that I walk with him according to his pace, not my pace. So I am waiting for him. He is not waiting for me.
Yeah.
But I can run. I can walk. But I run or walk with my children depending on their ability to walk or run. I walk with them according to their pace. So most of the time when people use that excuse, they are waiting on God, is just a disguised excuse. Now, after that session, I said, brother, you are going to start paying money for these sessions because other people pay money, but you've been receiving this for free. And immediately I started charging him. He started doing his homework.
Oh, wow.
And then he started getting results. So if you are a Christian in business and you are not charging people, you are not doing them a good service. Because if you don't charge people, then you are not giving them an opportunity to invest in themselves. It's like a farmer who says, God, you've given me some seed, but I'm not going to put them in the ground, but I'm expecting you to give me a harvest. So all the research I've done shows that when you don't charge people for something, they don't turn to value it. And when they don't value it, they don't do anything with it. So you are not doing people a service by not charging them. Secondly, if you don't charge them, you are going to have a faulty business model, which means you are not going to be running a profitable business. And if you don't run a profitable business, you cannot help yourself and you cannot help all the people you want to help out there. There's no way I'll be able to give donations to other organizations if my business was not profitable. In fact, there's no way I'll even create time to do an interview now with you if I was a hungry business person, and my family was hungry. I'll be worried. Maybe I'll be moving from one soup kitchen to another looking for food. Then I'll be accusing God. But God himself has given us a model. And so charging is not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, people use salvation, say, oh, salvation was free, so everything Christian should be free. No, salvation was not free. It cost God the blood of his son. It was
the ultimate price. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was the ultimate price. So anybody who has that mindset is something that Christians have struggled with. And I had to go through that experience of not charging and then charging and seeing how the transformation was apparent on the clients. And from that day, I said, no way, there's just no way I can offer these services without charging. The other thing too that I've seen a lot among Christians as I go to church is whenever you are serving a fellow Christian, they'll say, well, brother, sister, we are brothers, sisters. Why don't you give me a discount? And I was saying, your life is so valuable that there's no way you want me to discount your life. So you should pay full price because you are so valuable. But the other question I ask them is, did you buy gas for your car today? They'll say, yes. I said, where did you buy gas? They said, over there in that gas station. I said, do you know who owns the gas station? They said, no. I said, did you ask them for a discount when you were buying gas? They said, no. I said, well, maybe a Muslim owns that gas station. Nothing wrong with being nothing against Muslims. I said, but you went to that gas station. You don't even know who owns it. You paid full price so that business can prosper. And you are coming to me. You are asking me to give you a discount so you can bankrupt my business. What kind of love is that, brother? You want to bankrupt your brother and you want to prosper the enemy? What kind of love is that? And they'll go, oh, I now see it differently. So nobody should be ashamed to charge. a price for their business. It's a mindset that doesn't benefit the customer, and it's a mindset that doesn't benefit the business owner. So if you have been doing that, stop doing it. And if you are ashamed of charging for your service, think about your solution as really a solution. And the person who has a problem is your client. That client has a problem, you have a solution. So you are really exchanging your solution with the client's problem. You should be proud of doing that. As a matter of fact, you are saving them a lot of time, energy, and money with the solution you are giving them. So whatever you are exchanging is more valuable compared to the money they are paying you. So those are all the mindset, paradigm shifts I had to go through. And today I'm so bold about what I do. And when I charge for it, I'm not ashamed, because I know I'm offering something that is very, very valuable.
Yeah, I agree. And it is such a hard concept. It's even in different areas of service, it can be difficult. I remember a couple of years ago, I was I actually started business as a photographer, and I was in a meeting with other, people in small business. And I heard a guy talking about how he had to pay a certain price for a photographer for newborn pictures. And, he was complaining about it. And I said, you know what? You got a good deal, because I would have charged you a lot more. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to be nasty or anything, but I wanted him to appreciate the person who actually gave him that opportunity. But you talked about how God waits on us. And that's that part of free will, where, he's waiting on us to come to a space where we trust him enough. We ask him to expand those borders, and we still are taking action in some way, unless we hear him tell us not to. Or we are waiting on him to open those doors, but we're not sitting still on our couch doing nothing. And so I like that you say that, because it's saying that, hey, we don't just sit and dig our heels in and say, well, I'm waiting on God, because I think a lot of that comes from fear. And you tell people how they can move past some fear, because there's a lot of fear that is disguised in different ways. It's disguised in procrastination. Maybe you're afraid of not being able to be perfect, that perfectionism. Maybe people will mock you. Maybe people will think your prices are too high. Maybe they're going to come to you and ask you for a discount, and you won't be able to stand up for yourself. All of those things. How do you mitigate the fears, all of the questions that come up when you are trying to venture out into something new, or even expand something that you're already doing, and saying, hey, I'm not meant to sit here. I'm meant to grow. I'm meant to expand. I'm meant to offer more, but I also deserve to make the money for what I offer, for my talents.
That's amazing question, Christina. I obviously went through that in my entrepreneurial journey. But the one encounter that really changed everything for me, which is what I'm sharing with everybody, is when I really discovered that marketing is really the distribution of solutions. And if you love people, and you know that these people have problems, and you have a solution to their problem, there shouldn't be any reason why you should hold back that solution from them. I mean, Laura, if I love you and I know that you have a problem, why would I be ashamed to come and tell you about the solution? So it's really moving it from, oh, I don't want to be rejected. Oh, I'm afraid to go out there too. Do I really love my customers enough that I'm willing to risk any kind of rejection to introduce to them the solution to the problem they are going through? Because if you have a business and you are not enthusiastically marketing it, either you are wicked or you don't believe in the solution. Because if you believe in the solution that God has given you, you will do everything humanly possible to reach more people who have that problem. So if you have a product or a service and you are not enthusiastically marketing it, either you don't believe in that product or service, or you are wicked. I know that might come out to be harsh. But if I really love my customers and I want to do everything humanly possible to let them know that I have medicine for their sickness. Because if somebody has cancer and I have the cure for cancer, and I really claim that I love that person, why will I not do everything humanly possible to introduce that cure to that person? The person might say, no, that's okay. I'll come back again and look for a different angle to talk about that medicine to that person. But I won't sit there and say, yeah, I know those people are out there dying, but I'm just going to relax here until I see a unicorn in the sky telling me it's time to go, and then I'm going to go. So it is really it's really when I replace my fear with love for my customers that I became enthusiastic and excited to go out there and reach more people with the solution, with the product, with the service that I offer. So that is what really gave me the boldness to overcome that fear. And then I stopped seeing marketing as manipulation, but the distribution of solutions. So I became a proud distributor of solutions. Because the more solutions I distribute, the more I'm making the world a better place. Who doesn't want to make a world a better place? So that is what gave me the courage to overcome that fear of reaching out to more people.
Right. And I believe that it has to do a lot with just confidence in your ability to know that you are who God says you are, that he doesn't make mistakes, that whatever he has given you as a talent, as a gift, that he means for you to use it. And, a lot of times people will get caught in this comparison trap. And I would love for you to talk about that a little bit, because you could say, well, I want to offer that tincture for whatever ails them, that health and wellness type thing. I am a very big advocate for health and wellness. And, if somebody could say, hey, there's so many products out there. Why in the world would I start my own health and wellness line or my own beauty line or whatever? What is going to make somebody choose me over somebody else? There's so much comparison. And I just use that as an example. I mean, people do that probably with coaching and, all sorts of things, photographers. Well, there's already really, 10 great photographers in this town. Why would I start a photography business or something like that? Can you talk a little bit about that comparison and the confidence issue and, where everybody fits in there?
Yes, that's a very good question. The reality is there are over 7+ billion people on earth, but all of us were created unique. There is no other Christina. There might be many other people having the name Christina out there, but there's no one that's going to be exactly like you. So right out of the gate, God already differentiated you. So anything that is asking you to do is already different. Because your story is never going to be like another person's story. And the mistake a lot of people do, whether they are offering a product or service, is they don't bring their story along with that product or service to let people know why they started the business in the first place. Because when they bring their story and connect it to that solution, whether it's a vitamin or it's a bar soap or whatever they are selling to help people with, if they connect it with their story, that would differentiate it from every other person out there, because your story is unique. Your story cannot be replicated. And so it'll make it even very difficult for the competition or for the competitors to try to copy you, because your story is unique. So God has already differentiated you. Stick with that differentiation. Look at your backstory and tell people why you started that product, why you started that service, and that will set you apart from the rest of the market so you can go on and make an impact with the people that God has called you to serve.
I love it. Knowing that the Lord has knitted us together in our mother's womb, knowing that He has designated the amount of days that we have here on earth, knowing how many hairs we have on our head, everything about us, He's designated. So we should always understand that we are worthy and, stand up to His calling. So Benson, you and I are going to have a second episode that I'm so excited. We're going to wrap some things up and you're going to tell everybody more about you. But for right now, we're going to look to the next episode. For everybody out there, continue to be blessed and bless others. Thank you so much, Benson.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Are you looking to enhance your homeschool curriculum by learning about the Holy Land, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about Israel yourself? ARTSA has a subscription box that takes you on a journey through the Holy Land. Each quarter, they feature a different city in Israel and tell its story past and present, while sourcing amazing items not found anywhere else from 7 to 8 local artisans. ARTSA provides a mix of food, gifts, and magnificent content that delivers the Holy Land to your doorstep, all while supporting the small businesses and people who call the Holy Land home. Grab your code in the show notes for 25% off of your ARTSA box. ARTSA Christina Reisinger. That's ARTZA KRISTINA RISINGER. And I want to thank you for joining us on Faith Breathed Hope, where you gain inspiration and motivation to renew hope and discover purpose in any circumstance. Please like and share this podcast and give us a review on iTunes. Be blessed.